I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. An update in the matter relating to the search warrant executed at Mar-A-Lago. The Department of Justice has submitted a letter to the special master in that matter, Judge Raymond Dearie in the Eastern District of New York, informing Judge Raymond Dearie that consistent with Judge Eileen Cannon's order, referring to the docket number 125, the parties, the Department of Justice and Donald Trump, have finally, I use the word finally, but have entered contracts with third-party vendors to scan, process, host, and provide a review platform for the seized materials. Thank you for your consideration. And you'll recall that the Department of Justice had previously wrote a letter brief to Judge Raymond Dearie that no electronic discovery vendor wanted to be hired by Donald Trump, with the implication that they all realized that Donald Trump would stiff them on the bill, or they just did not want to be affiliated with that wannabe fascist Donald Trump. So the Department of Justice had to become the contracting party and enter into the contract with the electronic discovery vendor. And the e-discovery vendor has finally been hired. And so what this means as well is that all of those other documents, not the 100 classified records, recall the 11th Circuit issued its order granting the Department of Justice's motion for partial stay of Judge Eileen Cannon, the hack Trump appointed judge who's been carrying Trump's water from day one. The 11th Circuit ruled that the 100 classified records obtained during the validly executed search warrant at Mar-A-Lago, well, those 100 records, take them away from Judge Eileen Cannon and bring them back to the Department of Justice. That should not be here before the special master in these proceedings. Give those documents back to the Department of Justice so they can continue their criminal investigation. But now there still are 11,000 other documents, approximately 200,000 pages of documents that Donald Trump stole from the government and hid in Mar-A-Lago. And so those documents, which were obtained by the Department of Justice during the validly executed search warrant of August 8th, now get sent to an electronic discovery vendor who scans them in. There's basically a central holding e-discovery repository for these records. And Donald Trump has access to them. Judge Raymond Dearie has access to them. The Department of Justice has access to them. And pursuant to the procedures, Donald Trump will have to go through all of these records right now and to provide categorization with his lawyers, or whether a document he's claiming is personal property, whether there's a claim of executive privilege, whether he's claiming a document is a presidential record, or whether he's claiming it is some other classification status. And then Judge Raymond Dearie and Judge Raymond Dearie's assistant, who Judge Raymond Dearie hired, who's another retired magistrate judge. Judge Raymond Dearie is a federal judge, but he brought in a retired magistrate judge to help him out, who will be billing Donald Trump at $500 an hour to take part in this review process. Donald Trump will have to categorize these documents. And so now that process is finally underway. But it took weeks to get to this point. For Donald Trump is so incompetent. This man who was the president, and it just pains me to even have to say that, he can't even successfully retain an electronic discovery vendor. As a lawyer, I'll tell you, I like these electronic discovery vendors. Some of them are friends. But when you go to these lawyer conferences, they want your business. I've never heard of an electronic discovery vendor turning away business before amongst litigators. I've never heard that before, other than in this case with Donald Trump, where they know he's going to stiff them and not pay their bills. But because of this delay, the Department of Justice finally said last week, we've had enough. What we've already gotten back are 100 classified records, so we're good. We got our investigation, the criminal investigations, ongoing and underway once again, although Judge Eileen Cannon tried to derail it. The Department of Justice is like, look, this circus that's taking place before Judge Eileen Cannon, the incompetent and corrupt Judge Eileen Cannon, who's overturning the recommendations of the well-respected special master Judge Raymond Dearie. Enough is enough. That's why the Department of Justice filed a motion to expedite their appeal of Judge Cannon's overall order where she asserted equitable jurisdiction. And the Department of Justice said, 11th Circuit, for the very same reasons that you've ruled that Judge Eileen Cannon should not have had access to those 100 classified records and not have asserted equitable jurisdiction there, the same legal reasoning applies to all of the other 11,000 plus documents that Donald Trump stole. And let's just get the show on the road on an expedited basis. Enough is enough. Our national security interests are on the line here. This is not a complex issue. Donald Trump just went and stole these records. You know what's going on. And the 11th Circuit granted the motion to expedite the appeal, meaning the appeal process will now be completed. The legal briefing stage will now be completed by mid-November, and there may be oral argument thereafter, but as I've predicted before, there should be an order by the 11th Circuit in late November, in my view, mid-December the latest. Basically, I envision it will be a scathing order telling Judge Eileen Cannon, what the heck did you do? The same way they did in their prior order granting the motion for partial stay, the scathing order where they said it was self-evident that Judge Eileen Cannon was wrong. Yet again, I think the 11th Circuit's going to step in and say, Judge Eileen Cannon, you should have never, ever asserted equitable jurisdiction over this case. You did something unprecedented here, preventing the Department of Justice from engaging in a vital criminal investigation. Judge Eileen Cannon, you may have caused people their lives with the games you've played. Now, I'm talking, that's not what the 11th Circuit's going to say. They're just going to overrule her decision, and the equitable jurisdiction decision is going to be overruled, and this process is going to stop. But she did. Just think about how horrific it is what Judge Eileen Cannon did here. She's playing games with people's lives and our national security. And as the 11th Circuit pointed out in their prior brief, Donald Trump has not even claimed, that he has a possessory ownership over any of the records that he stole. Hasn't even made that assertion. All Trump said is that, I'm not sure what these records are. They may be, they may not be. Dude, they're in your house. You stole them. Enough babying this wannabe fascist like Judge Eileen Cannon is doing. And that's what the 11th Circuit said. Even if Trump then claimed a possessory ownership interest in these records, which he did not because he stole, to what right would he have to these records? None. Zero. And Judge Eileen Cannon goes, oh, I'm worried that Donald Trump's reputation may be harmed and we need to protect the reputation. No, we need law and order. You're supposed to be a judge. I don't know what the heck it is that you're doing other than carrying Trump's water. But what you're doing is not law and order, and it's offensive, and it's despicable, and it's disgusting. In any event, the show's on the road. E-discovery's taking place. Documents are being scanned. Judge Raymond Dearie, special master, gets it. 11th Circuit gets it. Judge Eileen Cannon gets that her orders apparently come from Trump. She's carrying his water. It's absurd what she's doing. We'll keep you updated here on the MeidasTouch Network with more developments. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hey, hit the subscribe button right now. We're almost at 1 million subscribers. Thanks to you. Also, if you want to support independent media like this, I get asked all the time. Here's what you can do. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Different membership tiers with exclusive benefits like becoming a producer of the MeidasTouch podcast, getting postcards from me and my brothers, also exclusive podcast content, behind-the-scenes footage, and more. Check it out. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Until next time.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.